Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Realcomm Live. We are excited today. We're doing something a little different. We are going to be going off-site to a factory floor, as well as a construction site. We're trying to make Realcomm Live as interesting as can be. I guess this is the roving reporter side of what we do. We're going to be visiting the SLI 303 battery in Seattle again. We haven't visited it, but we've talked about it on our show before. World's first prefabricated, sustainable apartment building. And what we mean by that is prefabricated, built, the components built off-site and then assembled on-site. This has been going on around the world for 20, 30 years in various shapes and forms. But we think they're doing something pretty special and may have finally cracked the code. So before we bring on our guests, let's play a short video of the project in SLI so you can get some understanding. And then we're going to bring our guests live from the construction site and the factory floor.
Things just take too long, too inefficient. Our industry has said for the last 75 years, there should be a way to manufacture a building, but no one's been able to pull it off. Early on, it was clear to us that incrementally improving the model that existed wasn't going to get us there. So we started over from scratch. You have to be a product development company first. How do you make parts in a manufactured environment that can be assembled in the field as a building? That was the direction we chose, and it's turned out to be the right choice. The goal is to build high-rise buildings in half the time, use half the energy, half the water, and be a better place to live. We're literally 70% less energy than the building across the street. The environmental performance of it, it just resonates. We're really proud of the fact that 303 Battery is the world's first net zero energy multifamily tower in the world. It's going to be amazing what we get to do because of the way we've approached the problem and the technology that we've used to do it. I couldn't mention the SLI team without mentioning our factory team. We think it's really important to give people who have the fewest choices the most opportunity. The people that work here, people that buy our buildings, the people that live in our buildings, they all should be better off because of what we do. That's our hope. We're not just an idea or a notion. We're a growing technology company that is changing the way buildings are designed, developed, and delivered.
All right. With that, let's bring on Adam Rohde, Chief Operating Officer of Sustainable Living, and Carrie Cassidy, the Chief Construction Officer. Hey, how are you guys?
Good. Good morning, Jim.
Great. Good morning.
And I'm going to apologize in advance. We're doing something technically a little challenging here. So if I go out, which we had some technical issues this morning, or you guys are really the ones that should be going out, you're out there in the Wi-Fi, broadband, and 5G, 4G, 3G world. So we pull this off, it's going to be pretty spectacular. Thanks. And as you do and what you do for a living, thanks for taking the risk in order to get us to the next level. So I think about the factory floor and the assembly process.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Jim said, I'm Carrie Cassidy, Chief Construction Officer for Sustainable Living Innovations. I have worked here at SLI for 2 years now. I was brought over from the traditional construction world where I spent 25 years here in Seattle, building commercial high-rises and other projects around the city, but was looking for something new. So here we are at sitting at the corner right now of 3rd and Battery in downtown Seattle. And behind me, you can see the 303 Battery project site where we're doing something new and special, which is building Seattle and the world's first net zero high-rise apartment building. So we're pretty excited about that.
Well, and so as I said that with the building over your shoulder, just 1,000 questions come to my mind. First question is, what do your peers and the people in the neighborhood doing things the old way think about this project?
I think people are pretty excited about it. A lot of people come by and stop and ask what's going on. And a lot of people are very interested. It definitely takes people who are interested and willing to think outside the box to come to a project like this, because we're definitely trying really hard not to do things the old way. So you can't come into this with the mindset that we're going to do things here the way we've always done them in the construction world. That's just not what we're doing. And even to call this a construction site is a little bit of an old school way of thinking, because what we're actually doing here is assembling a building. Pardon me for the bus behind me. We're assembling a building that was manufactured and built off-site. So it's pretty cool and fun to be a part of.
So, I mean, I love the fact that you have history in the traditional construction industry. Give me like 2 or 3 really distinct differences. I mean, really top of the mind, what is different between this process and the one you came from?
Yeah, we're not bringing a bunch of, raw material to this site and sort of stick framing everything in place. That's not the way it's going at all. So we're trying to think about using less people on this project, using less raw material, having less waste. So that's a big difference. We're also looking at using a standard kit of parts, right? So we've designed in-house a panelized system that can be applied to multiple different projects, from a low-rise, 5-story building to a high-rise 20-story building. The building behind me is going to be a 15-story. So that's something that's really different about it, is that we're designing something that's reusable. So, from my traditional construction world, building high-rise office buildings, every time you build one, you go back to the drawing board and you start from scratch and you design the foundation and you design the structure. We're really trying hard not to do that here. So we're trying to eliminate a lot of the waste from both the design and construction process to come up with something that's more affordable and more sustainable.
Now, just like in any other business, you get better as you attempt various iterations, right? You learn from your past mistakes.
Yes.
And given that this is your first one, I'm assuming you probably still have some learning to do, correct?
Let me tell you about learning. We're learning a ton here, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of it, because the learning that's happening is accelerated. We originally thought that our learning curve was kind of by the building. So the first building was going to be this, the second building was going to be a little better, and the third building. What I've seen happen here is that it's happening by the floor. It's happening by, during the steel and panel erection process that we have underway right now. And you can see that we're about halfway up the height of this building. Every time we pick up a panel and a piece of steel and put on another floor of this building, we're getting better at it. As an example, the first floor of this building took about a month to install. That's the first floor. The most recent floor that we installed was going to be just over a week. So the learning curve is we're making great strides in our productivity improvements, and we're going to be able to take those productivity rates and advances and learning into our next buildings to make those even better as we move forward.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when Adam comes on, about the historical attempts at this over the last 50 years. Actually, the first time I saw it was Disney doing it in the Contemporary Hotel in Disneyland, and then that kind of took a hiatus, and we saw it pop up again in China, and now here you are, and the sense I get is you're iterating very quickly, like you just said. And the results are going to be pretty incredible. Now, one final thing I want to mention before you bring Adam on, let you walk across the street, is I got to give you a lot of credit as a construction person who could very easily take the position on technology like, oh, it makes me nervous, it never works. Here it is, you're sitting on a corner in Seattle with a laptop using your hotspot, with the right angle. It looks like you were professionally framed. Good job. I got to tell you, good job.
Excellent. Thanks.
Yeah. And again, thanks for taking the risk. It always, we don't get anywhere without risks. And it's people like you who are charging hard and failing fast and failing often, are going to lead us into the future. So thanks. Let's bring in Adam, and then we'll come let you get across the stream. We'll bring you back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
All right. Now we go over to the factory floor. Look how fast we do that from downtown Seattle. How far are you away?
Hey, Jim, how's it going? We are about 40 minutes south of the job site here in Tacoma, Washington. at our 93,000 square foot manufacturing, really assembly facility here in, as I say, in Tacoma, Washington.
So was the location, the proximity to Seattle, the size? Tell us a little bit about the selection of the factory. Why is it where it is, and why is it the size?
Yeah, so one of the things is definitely proximity to our job sites. We are really building and assembling the buildings here at the factory. Our fully integrated panelized system that has all of the integrated mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems built into our panels. And so we want to be able to get those to the job site as efficiently as possible. And so proximity to our job sites is really important. The size of the facility was really driven by the fact that we need about 4 or 5 manufacturing lines when we're at full capacity. Right now, we have 2 fully operational lines, and we have about 2 more that are about to come online. We're actually down here today manufacturing our next project. So 303 battery has actually been completed from the manufacturing facility perspective, and we're working on our next project for DESC. The thing that we really focus on with our manufacturing facilities is we believe that small regional facilities to serve job sites in a local region is the best path forward. And so that's also why we have the size of facility that we do.
So is the ultimate idea to have multiple facilities throughout the country, or in the world for that matter, where you pick a center point or a bullseye, and then you can manufacture buildings for X miles of that center point?
That's exactly right, Jim. The idea is that much like our product, we want to build repeatable factories that we can put in regional locations in our target areas of our buildings.
And then what about I remember watching the Broad company in China, the putting the panels on the trucks, loading them up, with all the supplies. Tell us a little bit about how it gets from the factory floor to the job site.
Yeah, actually, just about 5 minutes ago, right behind me, we had a truck that pulled into our facility here. We loaded it up with 4 racks of panels, and so that's how it leaves the facility. We back a truck up to our loading dock here at the facility. We have racks that contain approximately 5 panels per rack. We then cover those with a tarp, and we ship them to a buffer yard about a quarter mile away from this facility. And one of the great things about our product is it's intended and designed with all materials that can be exposed to elements, which helps a lot during the erection process in the field, but also helps us from a storage capacity while the building's waiting to be assembled in the field. And so we store about a quarter mile here from the factory. The balance of 303 battery is in that buffer yard. And then as the project needs it, they call to the buffer yard. And the racks are then placed on a flatbed truck and taken to the job site where Carrie's team receives them and hoists them into place.
Wow. And now you said the materials were able to withstand weather. Do you mean the interior materials as well, like the walls of the apartment?
Yeah, so the panels that go out from here, they basically are at what we would call a rough-in ready or a cover inspection ready degree of finish. So we don't have all of our interior finishes on the panels when they leave here, but we're ready to receive our kit of parts interiors that are installed at the job site once the conditions at the job site are dried and weathered in.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's do this. Let's take a brief commercial break, and then we're going to bring back both of you, and we're going to talk about the assembly process, and then the technology in the building, and the ultimate goals and vision for the company.
Introducing Secure, a digital twin platform for the built environment, which captures and displays sensory data from IoT devices, providing real-time insights into spaces. Secure allows for detailed information to be displayed comprehensively by offering map views of all linked devices and sensors, as well as graphs, heat maps, and even custom alerts and notifications. It monitors air quality, occupancy rates, water leaks, waste management, carbon emissions, and overall energy consumption, keeping any space in an optimal condition and supporting ESG requirements. Owners, managers, Occupants, service providers, and even visitors can view all this information in real time at the click of a button on any device. Secure easily integrates with existing systems and devices, saving significant capital expenses. In-building assets can also be tracked and maintained, improving their life cycles. Centrally managing and running a digital twin is just the beginning. Getting real-time data on how a building or space is being used enables the provision of inspiring and engaging facilities to its inhabitants.
All right, there we go. And I want to compliment you as well for your technical prowess and being able to talk to us live from the factory floor. I gave Carrie a little kudos, and I want to offer the same to you. Carrie, if you could move over just a touch so we can at least see one eye. Okay, so here we are actually in the building. Why don't you give us a little breakdown about what we're looking at behind you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm inside one of our apartment units here. So what you see directly behind me is a demising wall, we call it. So this is a panel that was built at the factory that where Adam is right now. You see that there's ductwork and piping that's already attached to the wall. The wall came out that way. Over on this side, as I pan, you can see that those are what we call utility walls, and that's where all the utility services for our building come up and down through the building. So our utility walls come out of the factory with an electrical busway installed, as well as all of our plumbing risers, and the electrical boxes that are installed on the walls here. You can see with the red covers, those are marine grade electrical boxes that are also installed in the factory. Above me, you see the bottom of a floor panel. So that is going to be the ceiling of this apartment unit and the floor of the unit above. So each one of these units is made up of demising walls on either side, and then on one end we have utility walls, and then on the outside here facing, we have a sliding glass window system and a balcony. So that sliding glass window system can open all the way, providing a beautiful space inside here that's got a lot of natural light to it. So it's really a really interesting and fun process to be a part of, to watch as people start coming into these units and building them out. What you can see behind me in this unit is a shower pan. So that's one of the finished elements that's getting installed now. We're making final mechanical and electrical connections and starting to install unit finishes. You can also see behind me on this side one of our finished kits. So Adam mentioned that we have finished kits that will provide all of the build-out components that go inside this apartment unit. And we dropped this in with the crane during our panel erection process.
All right, maybe. So let's talk about that. That looks like a bunch load of technology behind you. Okay, so you're using technology in the construction process with Adam at the factory, and then you're installing it on the site. What does the finished product look like? I mean, I'm assuming that this thing is not just state of the art from the standpoint of the construction process, but also from the operational process. Tell us a little bit about what kind of features, smart building features, the building will have once completed.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of what it will look like when it's done, as both Carrie and I have mentioned, we have interior finish kits that we bring in. We've developed a lot of proprietary systems for the way that the interiors go together. We don't have any drywall on the interiors. We have no paint. Right, we're using all MDF panels with aluminum extrusions to fit those in. And those will go and cover a lot of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing and systems work that you can see already on the walls behind Carrie. But one of the things that we've done from a technology perspective that will live in that wall cavity, between the panel that you're seeing there and the finish, the interior finishes once applied, are a number of technologies that will allow us to really monitor our buildings, as well as have tenants interface with the spaces in which they're living, right? Be able to really interface with them. And some of those key features are around building maintenance, right? We have leak detection, right? So in the event there were a water leak, the building manager will know about it before anybody. That's an example of a way that we have an
Now,
ability.
were you two involved in the technology selection process at all? And as far as what operating system, what hardware, what different systems were you involved in that?
We've got a team, a technology team, our integrated systems team that really has been leading the effort to integrate these types of systems into our panels and into our buildings. So that they've been really leading the edge on the product selection for that. We've also got features. We have SLI Connect, which is our proprietary software that we use to actually operate the building. And this allows not only for the building manager interface, it allows for tenant interface. So our building can sense if somebody has left their window shades open and you get a lot of solar heat gain for the day. The building will reach out to the tenant as an example and suggest to them, hi, we're recognizing that you left your blinds open and you're getting a lot of solar gain in the building. Is it appropriate if the building lowers the shades for you to begin to cool your apartment? So there's features like that really allow tenant interface with our product.
So I got two questions, and I want to start with Carrie, and then I'll come back to Adam. Carrie, we saw a guy behind you, doing his job, and what do the people on this construction site, the traditional construction workers, think about this? Are they open to it? Are they excited? Are they afraid? What's the reaction of those guys and ladies on site?
They're excited, and we do have both guys and ladies on site, which is cool. And they're very excited about it. I think one of the things that I've seen happen here is that people who've worked in construction for a long time are used to doing the same thing over and over. And those who are seeking a challenge and who like doing new things and learning are really excited about this because it gives them a chance to try something new and also to see that they're making a change in the built environment. They're trying to contribute to something that's going to be more energy efficient. We're trying to increase productivity. So we're seeing a lot of engagement from our trade partners that we're working with out here to help us actually contribute to making it better.
I know when they were doing waterless urinals on the East Coast, they got a lot of resistance from the traditional players, unions and such, because it was new. They were fearful of jobs. Are you getting any of that up in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, no, actually not significantly. And Seattle is a big union construction city. We do have a mix on this project of both union and non-union trades, and they're working together quite well. And I think SLI's done a good job of picking partners who are willing to come to the table and be that player for us. So that's contributed to it as well.
Now, Adam, you had mentioned a couple seconds ago about an integrated technology team. An integrated technology team at a construction company is not usually two things you hear in the same sentence, okay? So especially to the level that you guys are doing. Of your peers, folks you've been in the industry with for, your career, how many of those companies have integrated technology teams?
Well, very, very, very few, right? I mean, a conventional, general contractor, as an example, they're gonna have a subcontractor that will provide whatever is specified for the building. In our world, if you think about the prefabricated and modular partner or peers, many of them are building what we would refer to as sort of a dumb wall, right? A wall that you then have to fit out completely with the selected systems in the field. And our view is that at the end of the day, we are a product company, and in order to be a product company, you have to have a completely integrated system.
Right.
That's really where we're much different than our peer group. Is we're not providing one component of a building, which is how a lot of people in this perceived sector are getting after it by providing an element of a building or a specific system of a building that's done in a prefabricated or modularized fashion. We're really trying to provide a complete, holistic, integrated building product that we can deliver to the market at the end of the day.
So we all know that the construction and real estate industry is pretty stubborn, pretty conservative in their pace of change. At what point do they start paying attention? I mean, they may bob their head in and poke their head in and say, well, this is interesting. But at what point do they say, holy cow, we better get onto this because we're now peddling the old way and there is an obvious new way. Are we close to that point or do we still have a while to go?
I think we're really close to that point. We're seeing many conventional general contractors, conventional developers reaching out to us to really try to understand what our product value proposition is, right? And that's our ability to deliver a higher quality end product that really aims to enhance the health of the folks that live in our building, right? Enhances the ability to interface with the building as we talk about the technologies that we can leverage within our product, as well as being incredibly sustainable. And those elements are all integrated within our product, and in many ways, you can't get those in a conventional product or conventionally built building the way that we can deliver those in our product. And as a result, people are really starting to pay attention. And I think with the delivery of 303 battery, you're going to see a lot of people who are going to stand up and really get involved in what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, okay. So one final question, and I could talk to you all day, and I apologize we can't, but I mean, I've been interested in this topic for a long time. If we use Disney's attempt at the Contemporary Hotel, with the prefabrication of those rooms that he slid in like shoe boxes, as the starting point of this modern attempt at what you are all doing, using a baseball metaphor, 303 battery, what game, what inning, World Series are you at right now?
Wow, put on the spot there. I think we are. We will say it's. We're going to play a full 7-game series. We're in Game 4 of the World Series, and we're in the early innings, right? I think that what we're about to achieve and shake up is significant, but it's all about repetition, and it's all about getting the experience of getting our product out in the marketplace. And while we've achieved a tremendous amount to date, we're all really excited about what's ahead of us, and we think we have a lot more that we can bring to the marketplace.
Carrie, would you agree with that assessment?
Absolutely. We talk often about needing at-bats, and we've gotten a lot of at-bats here. We've optimized our structural system. We have yet to optimize our, some build-out portions. Lots of opportunity ahead, but I would totally agree with what Adam said.
So 2 things that I walk away from this conversation with is, number one, I can see the excitement and the passion on your faces. Okay. So like you said, in the construction industry, throwing that hammer for 20, 30 years can get a little boring. I don't see any of that on your faces. Number 2, I think you all realize that we're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. And the faster we get through those failures, that's just called learning. It's not called failing. It's called learning. Right.
Yep.
And the third component is your willingness to take the risks necessary to advance this in a meaningful way, not just on a PowerPoint deck, but in real world, real life situations. So I want to thank you for all of that, your efforts, and we're going to help get the word out as much as we can. And congratulations on your journey. And when that building tops out, maybe we can get up there and get a tour.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Same here. You guys have a great day.
All right. You as well.
You too. Thank you.
Be well. Bye-bye. Wow, that, I mean, we've done, I think, 75 of these, and I keep saying they keep getting better. We took a risk with the technology on site, both of them using, I think, one was using a hotspot on a phone, the other using a Wi-Fi connection. These people are not IT specialists, but they figured it out. They took the risk. And then the message they delivered was off the charts. I mean, you saw with your own eyes, the factory assembling these pieces, being rolled off on trucks, to be assembled on site. Carrie doing a wonderful job, collecting those panels, getting them up, and then finishing out the building. So great job to everybody at SLI, from the vision down to the people, I don't want to say pounding the nails in anymore, assembling the panels. Great job, and you have a lot to be proud of. So with that, we got a treat this week. Howard's off on his music adventure, and we have Nancy coming in to do the news. How are you, Nance?
Oh, a treat this week. Thank you. I'm fine, Jim. Happy to be here filling in for Howard.
Yeah. So what did you think about that interview?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Such state-of-the-art stuff. It's amazing how long it's taken. As you mentioned, Disney started something so many years ago, and we're just now seeing it come to fruition. But hey, worth the wait. Yeah,
worth the wait. And they are a really passionate, powerful company, and I just love to be able to report on great projects like that. So
Yeah.
I'll get out of your way, bring in the
Alrighty.
news, and then I'll see you back in a couple minutes.
Okay, very good. I've got a recap of a few of the articles from this week's weekly news brief, which is published every Thursday morning. Our lead story this week comes from Robert Fitzgerald, Regional Technology Director at JLL, titled Today's Digital Workplace Reconfigured. The article focuses on the evolving concept of the digital workplace and the opportunities for CRE teams to digitize operations. After 2 years of largely virtual engagement, the human experience we create in the workplace matters more than ever, and we know it needs to be highly digital. The article touches on some of the more common building blocks and technologies many organizations feel are necessary for moving their digital agendas forward. It underscores the importance of thinking through and documenting the outcomes they are trying to achieve long before identifying specific technology solutions. It also points out that managing space utilization will be key as companies begin to accelerate their hybrid work plans. Workplace utilization sensors and leveraging AI are in high demand as a means of helping companies collect intelligence on how and when space is being used. Having learned early in his career that data is king, Robert advises readers about a variety of ways to centralize and normalize their portfolio and operations data prior to designing a data consolidation framework. Going forward, we'll be continuing to view this as a human first imperative, which means the future of the office will have to be human centered, placing health and wellness at the forefront. The article summarizes that to execute this vision, organizations need to decide what makes a meaningful experience and create moments that matter in both the physical and digital dimensions. This was truly a great read. Thank you, Robert. Our second article came from our tech partner, LinkSpring, on the topic that's on everyone's mind these days, ESG. According to author Mark Peacock, 2020 was the year we saw ESG go mainstream in the built environment. He classified 21 as the year organizations began to seriously explore and transition towards ESG and start to figure out how they were going to achieve sustainable outcomes and impact. This has paved the way for a significant focus on sustainability initiatives in the future. We have seen many organizations make commitments and climate pledges to become net zero by reducing their carbon footprint. Real estate, corporate facilities, and sustainability directors are now on the front lines for operationalizing these ambitions and driving action at the building level. Mark reminds us that buildings are responsible for 28% of annual carbon emissions. We are now in a critical position where the decisions we make for our buildings could ultimately lead to two outcomes. Either the industry makes major changes that will aid the planet, or we make the problem worse, bringing an already dire crisis closer to the point of no return. It's clearer than ever that the global impact of carbon emissions attributed to the buildings industry needs to be treated with urgency and attention. And lastly, a shout out of congratulations to Don Goldstein. 5Q, a technology solutions company serving the commercial and real estate industry, has announced that Don will assume the role of CEO effective immediately. Don joined 5Q in 2018, bringing with him global experience as former CIO and CISO of CBRE. He has helped 5Q gain their reputation as cybersecurity experts for commercial real estate owners, operators, and occupiers. Best of luck to you, Don, in your new role. And that's a wrap for today's news.
All right. So great job. And I told you would do great, and you did. It's always,
I don't know about great, but
well,
hey,
you know, you're always so busy taking care of things behind the scenes. It's always nice to see you come up and show your face and share your thoughts. So
yeah.
great selections of actually some really good articles this week. The one I bring one more attention to is the last one. I took a poke at it, and it's the future of work, how everything changed and what's coming next. I was just scanning through all the articles this week, and it talks about this hybrid, the work from home experiment, and now the hybrid experiment. Well, I will tell you, I just got back last night from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was there for an event, and I intentionally walked the streets after the event. Mm-hmm. Something's different. I mean, we all know it's different, but I'm guessing that city was 20% occupied. The restaurants were not vibrant. The streets were not vibrant. The office buildings had security guards in front of every single one of them. It was not the Charlotte or any downtown that I remember. So something's going on, and either it's going to slingshot back to normal or 3-day work weeks, in the office and home. But even at 3 days, that affects commerce and velocity and the ability to support those little businesses. And so I think we all better keep our ear to the ground and keep an eye on as this weekly news brief does. So thanks for delivering that.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in there each week.
Yep. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Nance. Great job.
Bye.
All right. So let's take hear from our final sponsor, and I'm going to come back next week, share a little bit about next week's show. All right. Well, we have to mix and match our topic selections with positive and innovative and exciting with reality. And unfortunately, our industry is being challenged a little bit right now. I would call it the defense. Offense is new innovation technologies, making buildings better, more fun, more engaging, more safe. But the reality is, we've got the issue with cyber, but another issue has been really rearing its head, and that's the supply chain issues as it relates to impact on the smart building industry. Well, we're hearing supply chain issues in every industry, but in our industry specifically, many of the chips and the boards and the controllers and the devices that go into our buildings are manufactured in China. And Richard Newberry and I have been having this conversation. He's the CEO of KMC. We've been having this conversation for about a year now, and we actually featured him on this topic in the general session in November in Scottsdale. Well, Richard's coming back with some not so good news. Things are not improving at the level we need. We see some little bit of brightness on the horizon, but maybe not enough. And we're kind of calling for the industry to come around this topic, whether it's through legislation or lobbying or joint efforts to bring manufacturing back. But we're going to have a great conversation with Richard Newberry, CEO of KMC Controls, about the supply chain issues directly impacting our ability to produce next generation buildings. So don't miss next week. It's going to be a great show. With that, I'd like to say thank you to all of you who joined us and who listen online later. You all have a great week, great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Be well.